Hi, and welcome once again to I'm Bored, Why the Hell Not, episode 5. I'm your host, Doug Stewart, also the voice of 810's Companies That Care. Well, let's begin today with the Royals, and oh my goodness, how bad has it gotten for the Royals? Yesterday, after the bats came alive on Wednesday night and the Royals were actually able to get a win over the White Sox, Soren Petro asked on his show, is this a sign that things may be starting to turn around? The Royals quickly answered that question yesterday by losing 8-3 to the White Sox. My response on Wednesday after Soren had asked if things were starting to turn around was this. No, not anywhere in the neighborhood of turning things around. After the loss on Thursday, that brought the Royals' record at home against the Twins and White Sox over the past week to 2-4. 2-4 at home against these two teams. Now, let's talk about how bad it has gotten, especially offensively for the Kansas City Royals. Here are their ranks in several offensive categories. Average, slugging percentage, on-base percentage, OPS, hits, walks, and runs, where they have 22 fewer runs than the next worst team in baseball. Not the American League, in baseball. That includes National League teams who have a pitcher batting in their lineup at least 2 or 3 times a night. The Royals are the worst offensive team in baseball by far, including National League teams that only put out 8 real hitters per night. Of course, right now you might argue the Royals are only putting out about 3 real hitters per night. But I digress. It's gotten so bad that you may have felt the tremor in Kansas City this past week. That tremor, everyone jumping off the bandwagon. Here's some tweets from Kevin Kiesman today talking a little bit about Royals TV ratings. This is how bad it's gotten. The Royals are now drawing 2007-ish numbers. Now, in their defense, it was a day game, so there weren't as many people at home watching baseball. And, as Kiesman points out here, the crowd was pretty good. But let's remember, that was also a crowd aided by School Day at the K. So even of the 36,000 that were at the game yesterday, tens of thousands of those were school kids who were there on a field trip. Hey, the Royals are still better than social studies. Enough on the Royals. Let's move on to a new segment we're going to call 3 Questions. Today's first victim of 3 questions, Frank Bowl. I started by asking the sports director at 41 Action News, who's retiring at the end of June. He's been here for 36 years. How close did he ever come to leaving Kansas City?
I got pretty close once. WTAE TV back in my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania offered me a job. Consulted with a few people about it. I'd been here for about 10 years. And I was really settled in, really enjoying it. My kids were growing up, and I just decided this was the best place.
If you've ever run into Frank in a social situation or just out at the bars, you may have noticed a green drink in his hand. He likes to call it the green stuff. I asked him to explain the green stuff.
Burns going down, and you don't remember much about that night.
And finally, Frank's son, Garrett. I used to work with him at 810. He ran the board. I asked what the most trouble Garrett ever got into when he was growing up.
Being born was Garrett's biggest problem. He had a huge party at our house one time. We went on vacation, but we were the dumb parents that went and figured that a 16 or 17-year-old would take care of the house and everything would be just fine. And it really wasn't. Doug, by the way, you got to get out of the basement one of these days, okay?
Sorry, Frank. I'll probably be in the basement for a while. Studio time costs money, and this show ain't making any. That'll do it for I'm Bored, Why the Hell Not, episode 5. Have a great weekend.